This is my video evaluation for my Showreel that I've been doing for my unit in production and also for my Welsh back as well. So over the past couple of weeks and months, we have been slowly putting together pieces that we can use for our Showreel. Our task was to create some aims and objectives and apply that and achieve that through our Showreel. Almost like a checklist, and that's how I have used it, as I've gone through everything that I needed to do and ticked it off as I completed it. Now, obviously, my aim one was to research and plan how to make a show reel. So what I did to do this is I did objectives as well. So I did my aim and then my objective to achieve that. Research what is needed, what style of songs I will need, and genres of monologues, and how to make myself stand out. Through my own experience, I know that there are certain monologues that I know that I can do really well. I have a few in my repertoire that I have learnt. Some of them are also ones that I used to do in GCSE as well, which is also great because I know them back to front. I know what the characters are like, and I'm mainly talking about my monologue for Blood Brothers. Now, that is Mickey's monologue, and he essentially talks about that he wants to be like his big brother, and because he's younger, he's not allowed to do the certain things that he's allowed to do. This character, I feel like, really highlights my acting ability. It shows that I can do an accent, and also shows that I can be very physical when doing pieces of theatre. So in order to achieve that and highlight those things, I then went on to research things like tech, what looks good on camera and what lighting is suitable. So knowing that information, I did a few angles. I understood that not every angle is going to be great, so I experimented with it. I looked into what it would look like if I was sat on the floor and the camera was up to my face. I looked at if it was just a head view, and then I looked at a full body view, and that is the one that I chose to do, as it highlights my movements that I'm doing. It shows the physicality of the character I'm portraying, and it really enhances my skills as an actor. So that's what I did for that, and I think that I really achieved that in my performance in my show reel. It is a short 30-second clip, and it really highlights what I can do. And then, obviously, I then went on to do a scene from Gavin and Stacey, the takeaway scene. This is a scene that I absolutely love. Again, it highlights that I can do a different accent, a different kind of character, but to break up some of my show reels so it wasn't so continuous, I decided to do it in a different setting, which is also something that was on my aims and objectives, was to look at what lighting is suitable and different angles and things like that again. So what I did is I took it into my friend's car and we did the monologue in the car. I think that this had a great effect. It showed that what I was doing was a different scene to the last and shows that versatility that I have. So that's something that I'm definitely proud of. And then, like, referring back to my research, is I kind of investigated what actually creates a good show reel. What is it about a show reel that really highlights who you are as an actor, singer, or a dancer? And I found this information online. It needs to be short and sweet. Some of the best show reels are a minute or 2 minutes. And it could be your best scene from a monologue, the best scene from a TV series, which is what I took on board. This information is linked in my appendix at the end with all of my references and things like that. And that is what Nicholas Peel says on the Spotlight page. And he talks about the importance of being snappy, as directors haven't got time to watch you do your things. So that is something that I wanted to ensure that I was doing, was that keeping it as short as I can whilst also being able to showcase myself, and I feel like I really achieved that in the song cuts that I decided to do. The songs I chose was What If and Full Disclosure from Addams Family. I then chose a small snippet from me in Book of Mormon, and I also did My Man Your Boy from Everybody's Talking About Jamie. All 4 of these songs have different characters and different ranges, which is something also that I wanted to showcase. What If is a much higher song, and it showcases that I can do that, and it also showcases the characters I can play. also Pugsley has an American accent, so I really wanted to highlight that I could also do accents, as you probably can tell by me mentioning that. And essentially what I did is I aimed for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I did 3.5 minutes, which I don't think is that bad. I think in the future I could maybe be a bit more consistent with it, maybe film shorter versions of it. I think that's the only thing I can really say about that. And things like that. And then I really wanted to look into how long a showreel should be and how I should set it up and what makes it brilliant. And I also looked at a YouTube video that explains that as well, which was really helpful. And something for me that I really wanted to portray when doing my showreel is the atmosphere that you have. For a showreel, I did some research on the YouTube video that I watched on, I think it was the Acting Wales page, and the guy talks about how you need to create an atmosphere like an audition. An actor or a singer or dancer should be able to create that atmosphere on their showreel, and I feel like I did that. And a way that I did that was also using actual snippets from me in actual shows that I have been in. So already it's showcasing what I can do when I'm performing in front of an audience, which is what they tend to look for. And that really helped me kind of understand what a showreel was along those lines. And throughout this process, I went back and forth on choosing my songs, and I looked at a variety of like ideas and plans. And I also did my logs as well. In my logs, I referenced how important it was for my angles and that I learnt my lines and things like that. And because I had done my logs, it has made my actual showreel so much easier because I've tracked my progress, if that makes sense. And then I went on to actually putting it together. This process actually turned out to be quite easy. It's probably one of the shortest times that I have actually spent on doing a final project because I used CapCut. CapCut is definitely a very easy platform to use if you don't think that you're very tech savvy, and I'm not really that. So all you have to do is copy and paste your videos onto the page. You can then add your own transitions, and that's something that I wanted to include as well. In my aims and objectives, I wanted it to be slick and quick and moving on, but also not too abrupt, and I think that I achieved that, as my transitions are very smooth and things like that. So I used that, and it proved to be very useful. And that is essentially kind of my evaluation for it. I think that I did a really good job. I really enjoyed doing it, and I think that in the future I would perhaps film maybe a piece of dance. I decided not to include dance because it wasn't something that I was comfortable with like showcasing. I didn't feel like I was very confident in it. However, I think that it would be nice to add, so when I do send my showreel off to people, they understand that I can dance, just I'm not very good. But I think that that would be something that I could improve on next time. And just overall, maybe choosing songs that are a bit more contrasting. I think that that would be useful as well. And again, highlighting my range and what I can do. So that's pretty much where I got up to. Thank you very much for listening.